we are ready to start exploring the story and the history behind the Herlufsholm, Danish oldest boarding school. Herlufsholm is 460 years old, and it was founded in 1565 during the Renaissance times, and it was founded in times when Denmark was consolidating power in the region and focusing on education and faith. Initially, it was founded as a monastic school, as a monastery, and an orphanage as well, in 1135. So probably most of the buildings here are from 1135. Of course, renovated and all of that, but the original structures were built back in 1135. And the buildings that you saw date back to when monks lived here. They prayed and they lived simple lives and studied. Denmark was completely Catholic up until the Protestant Reformation in 1536, and at that time Denmark adopted Lutheranism, which has remained until today. I also got curious what are the differences between Catholic and Lutheranism. So the main difference is that Catholics emphasize faith plus good work and the authority of the Pope and Church tradition for salvation. But Lutherans believe that salvation comes just by faith. You don't need to do a lot of good stuff, and they also do not believe in Pope. Do not believe that is needed. So after the Protestant Reformation in 1536, many religious buildings around Denmark were repurposed, and as for this area, in 1559, last monk left the monastery, and this monastery was later converted into one of the first major secular educational institutions in Denmark. Right now, it's one of the oldest boarding schools in Denmark, and it has a long tradition of educating, as Rikke said, Danish elite people, elites. And boarding schools in Denmark historically served children from elite or noble families, but over time they have evolved to include students from broader backgrounds, so not just elite. As you know from Aunu is also a højskole. There is a tradition in Denmark for folk high schools, but folk high schools are a very different institution than a boarding school. Folk high schools are very open, democratic, focused on adult learners and life skills, and they teach particular courses in certain skills. While boarding schools are like typical academic schools where you would go from, say, the 6th to the last grade of the school, learning like subjects that you later need for the university or stuff like that. And therefore they are more formal, more structured, and more academic. The Herlufsholm's schools buildings have a mix of Gothic and Renaissance styles, with this red brick with steep roofs and with ornamental details typical for Danish historic buildings. Now, as for founding Herlufsholm as it is now, the boarding school, it was founded by a famous Danish admiral called Herluf Trolle, and also his wife Birgitte Goya. They both were important historical figures from noble families. The goal was to provide education for orphaned boys, actually, emphasizing care, learning, and moral upbringing, values that are still valued, cherished in Denmark. So at the beginning, the students were only boys, but right now all genders are accepted. Here's an interesting thing. Actually, Herluf Trolle, this guy who founded the school, died 1 month after they bought the property. So probably, as I can understand, most of the early early development of the school was done by his wife and maybe some other people who helped him. However, interestingly enough, they celebrate his birthday, but not her birthday, as I learned from some information. Here, there are around 600 students studying every year, and approximately 300 of them are people who live all the time here in dormitories. And as I found out, there are also like half of these students who come here every day, so they don't live here. Although I thought that all of them live here, but apparently not all. And also the program they have here, they follow a 10-day program, a 10-day schedule with also lessons on Saturdays, and then they have 3-day weekends. So it's not a typical school structure. And here they offer all grades from the 6th to the 12th. Yeah, and they are separated by age and gender in dormitories. Every morning after the first session of lectures, the school gathers in the church or in the gym hall to get an update on current matters of interest, and to also sing from their personal songbooks. So something, yeah, a bit similar to our morning circle, but on a much bigger scale. So the church is still used for those purposes. And days are highly structured, classes in the morning and classes in the early afternoon. And after that there is free time, there are study hours, and there are also group activities. Also, Herlufsholm is the only school in Denmark with a compulsory uniform. So this kind of symbolizes unity and one tradition for all of the students. There is also a strong emphasis of academics and preparing students for university and leadership roles. They also included some leadership changes, changed the rector and restructured the board, aiming to bring fresh perspectives and leadership to the institution. Besides that, there was done some cultural reassessment. The school now is actively working to reassess and modify traditions and practices that may have contributed to the toxic culture, ensuring that they align with contemporary values of respect and safety. Besides usual school subjects, students also participate in music, in drama, in arts, and there is also sometimes peer mentorship systems where older students support younger students in getting educated, and there are extracurricular clubs and sports teams that create bonds and teach teamwork. As for Janteloan influence, it is also, as I understood, supported here, and humility and equality are encouraged. And something that is fostered in boarding schools also here and generally in Danish society, I think, is self-reliance and independence, so that students can develop maturity and personal responsibility for stuff. And I could really compare like Ukrainian attitude, I would say, to, for example, municipality matters, when you need to register yourself or make some documents. In Ukraine, we are kind of used to, getting notifications or kind of getting very supported and pushed and stuff. And as I heard from stories of people and also from my experience here, it's more like you are responsible for yourself, and you have to do your stuff, your registrations and documents and things yourself. Herlufsholm has many old traditions, and it is kind of a rare thing nowadays in Danish schools, because many of them are kind of more informal nowadays, but here they try to preserve their traditions. And so traditions like wearing uniforms, having formal assemblies, and also having historical celebrations. and it teaches students to connect to their heritage. Two of the traditions that I could specifically find, one of them is Trolle Morgen, which is the morning of this founder. And it is celebrated on the 14th of January, which is his birthday. And it is a major event. Even old students return to school to commemorate their days at school and this founder and celebrate. And then there is also another celebration which is called Fugleskulning, bird shooting. It is celebrated in mid-August, and it starts the new school year. So the new school year here starts in mid-August. And this tradition dates back to the 19th century, when old and new students meet at the school to shoot down a wooden bird on a pole with bows and arrows. Herlufsholm is surrounded by amazing nature, forest, old trees, and a very peaceful atmosphere. And it is here you kind of can also see the Danish passion for friluftsliv, outdoor life. So a philosophy of spending time outdoors for well-being, for connection, for health. Yes. And also, as Reike mentioned, forest kindergartens is another example of a similar thing, where kids spend almost the whole day outside playing in the forest. And for the last bit of this information to all of you, there is a fun fact about a language that was created here in Herlufsholm. The school has developed its own language known as Herloviana språk. So Herlufsholm, Herloviana are the people, the students who study here, Herloviana, and their language is Herloviana språk. And in this language, words are created by combining the first and the last syllables of the normal Danish words. So, for example, the school building, which in Danish is skolebygning, becomes skugning. And even though the language is exclusively used at Herlufsholm, and here I don't know whether it's probably like some parts of the language, but basis of the language is of course Danish. Some words have been adopted into widespread Danish language. For instance, there is a word for a little swan. So a swan duckling in Danish would be called svaneælling, but combining those two words you get a svelling. And there are actually 2 dictionaries of this language published. So this was it about Herlufsholm and boarding schools in Denmark.